Hola, buenos dias. So I wanted to talk with you today about a system that I and some of my colleagues have worked on for many years at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. I am a computer scientist trained at MIT, and I have worked since 1997 in the surgical planning laboratory at Brigham and Women's, developing ways to bring imaging to all forms of medicine outside of radiology. And one of the most exciting areas where imaging is
de las zonas mejores donde los cambios a la medicina se están realizando. Y lo mejor es el quirófano. De forma que quiero comenzar ofreciéndoles un vídeo de un sistema que denominamos AMIGO, que corresponde al acrónimo de lo que sería en español quirófano avanzado multimodal guiado por imagen.
Good. Yeah.
The Advanced Multimodality Image-Guided Operating Room is codenamed AMIGO, has been the product of over 2 decades of work by faculty at the Brigham. And the conceptualization, the engineering, the design of the physical facilities, the physical and software integration of all the modalities is something that just has not been done in medicine ever before.
The AMIGO suite is a game changer for surgery, particularly around malignancies. This is the opportunity to do more and better with less injury to the patient. If we can do it in a better way, in a less invasive way, and in a patient safety way, this is a quantum leap for the profession.
The genius of the design is that AMIGO is basically a 3-room suite with a tremendous amount of infrastructure supporting it. The middle room is a traditional operating room, and if you took the imaging devices away, you would say this is a nice modern operating room with 21st century lighting and navigational tools and a modern table that could do a wide variety of surgical procedures. In that room, we have image guidance modalities that you might find in other operating rooms, a fluoroscopy unit, an ultrasound device. But the real special things are the MRI and the PET-CT scan. Now, putting an MRI near an operating room creates a tremendous amount of logistical and safety challenges. The uniqueness of the design was to put the MR in a separate room outside of the OR with a very sophisticated radiofrequency shielded door that can close the MR off from the operating room when it's not in use, so that if we're doing a procedure that doesn't require the MR, you can do a regular surgical procedure, the MR would have no impact. But if we're doing a procedure that requires the MR is mounted on a railing in the ceiling, the door magically opens, the MR moves in, surrounds the patient on the operating table, and because of the higher field strength, within a minute or 2 we can get intraoperative images, and then the MR moves out of the way and the operation can continue. It also allows us, if there are procedures where we don't need the sterility of the operating room, but would like to have MR guidance, you could do that procedure in the MR room. The other room contains a PET-CT scanner. It's a combined device that is both a CT scan, a high-resolution CT scan, and a PET scan, or a positron emission tomography device. These devices have been in clinical use now for a little under a decade and are extremely powerful because you get the high-quality spatial resolution of a CT scan that can see very, very small objects in the lung or the brain or the liver and other organs, with the functional imaging capability of the PET scan, which takes up radioisotopes, takes a picture of their distribution, and shows you metabolic activity in different types of pathology. And then the images from the CT and the PET are fused, and so you can see in a pathologic structure effectively how aggressive it is and get information about the differential diagnosis. One of the very unique aspects about our image-guided therapy program is that it's received tremendous recognition and support from the National Institutes of Health over the years. About 10 years ago, Brigham and Women's was named as a National Center of Excellence by the NIH, and we're called the National Center for Image-Guided Therapy. That designation provides us with some sustaining support from the NIH in general, from the National Cancer Institute, from the National Institute for Biomedical Imaging and Bioengineering, and the National Center for Research Resources, which allow us to build on the support from the public institutions like the NIH to build a center where we can innovate and also train people in the rest of the country. So that public-private partnership between NIH and our physicians and scientists has been a critical element in the success of this program. One of the roles that AMIGO plays for the institution is not only is it a super-duper operating room, but it's also a scientific laboratory. And this is, again, something that's very much a part of the Brigham and Women's culture, that when we try clinical innovation, we do it in a way that can inform future practice. Patients that have procedures in the AMIGO suite have the procedures done according to an experimental protocol that's approved by the Institutional Review Board. We collect exhaustive information about the procedure itself, its duration, its complications, its outcomes, how imaging was used, how frequently, and how optimally it could be used. And all of this information is carefully recorded to try to help us identify the optimum way to use this advanced technology and identify the patients that can benefit from it the most. So an important part of what we do is to run this laboratory environment with all of the safeguards for patient safety and security that you would expect in a clinical laboratory. And that's why we involve our IRB and why every AMIGO patient at the moment is on a research protocol. Because the suite exists in an atmosphere of investigation and innovation, we're able to try procedures that have never been done before with different combinations of imaging guidance, try to objectively assess the results and their impact, and come up with constant improvements to make sure that we can use this precious resource as effectively as we can. Our goal is to disseminate our results to practitioners around the world and to patients around the world, to help others use technologies like this, perhaps not as elaborate as AMIGO, but maybe using a single modality instead of these multiple modalities, to bring image guidance to commonly done surgical procedures, where the addition of imaging, again, could add speed and add to the quality of the outcomes. I think it's fair to say that a suite in a facility like AMIGO is really only possible in an organization like Brigham and Women's Hospital that has had the kind of forward-looking, visionary leadership that we've benefited from. The leadership believed in the promise of establishing our organization as a national and international leader in the field of image-guided therapy in general and image-guided surgery in particular. And it's our job now to deliver on that promise, but it could really only happen in an environment like this.
Of course, what would he say?
Por
But
supuesto.
we can only do it at Brigham and Women's.
Eso
But
es lo que dice, pero solo
that's
lo podemos hacer
advertising,
en
not
Brigham and Women's.
necessarily, science. So, quick pause. Pause. Oh no, YouTube. Sorry.
YouTube, esto es lo que hay.
Space. Kill it. Yeah, good. Sorry, a little extra.
Un extra
YouTube
para
time.
ustedes.
Unfortunately, that was the best way to get
Desgraciadamente,
subtitles.
era la mejor manera de poder poner los subtítulos en el vídeo que acaban de ver.
Yes, here we go. No, no. No trackpad. Oh. Great. So, AMIGO is
AMIGO
a unique laboratory.
Es
It's a
un
place
laboratorio
where
singular,
not just we
un
treat
lugar
patients,
en el
but
que
we
no solamente
develop
tratamos
new
a los
ways to
pacientes,
treat
sino en el que
patients.
desarrollamos nuevas
We
formas de
take all
tratar a
of the
los
pieces
pacientes.
that
reunimos todas las piezas de un hospital, desde los dispositivos quirúrgicos a los de imagen, en un único lugar. Y allí los llevamos al paciente para ayudar al cirujano a realizar la mejor atención sobre el paciente sin tener que esperar a ver posteriormente cuáles serían los resultados de los dispositivos de imágenes. Aquí les muestro un esquema del aspecto de las dependencias AMIGO. En el centro se encuentra el quirófano, que está diseñado como un teatro como un quirófano tradicional, pero con equipo muy avanzado, con equipo de fluoroscopia, ultrasound. Y para las dos grandes piezas para imagen tenemos dos salas, una a un lado para la resonancia y al otro lado para el PET y el CT. Podemos mover ambos dispositivos dependiendo de lo que sea necesario. Aquí les muestro la planta de estas dependencias. Vean cuál es el quirófano, pero se trata de tener en cuenta todo el hospital porque necesitamos lugares para los pacientes antes y después de la operación. Necesitamos lugares para los instrumentos especiales. Todo en el quirófano tiene que ser compatible con el imán de la resonancia, de forma que no podríamos tener allí las herramientas que tendríamos en un quirófano habitual, porque podrían repercutir en problemas de salud para los propios asistentes sanitarios. El Women's and Brigham Hospital es un hospital que está en una ciudad muy densamente poblada, como es Boston, y vean cuál es la situación de AMIGO. Hay dos unidades de cuidados intensivos que están a la izquierda y a la derecha, y lo que hemos visto es que AMIGO, que se ha ido desarrollando a lo largo del tiempo, vemos que los pacientes son pacientes que vienen andando, digámoslo así, o sea, necesitan resolución de lesiones cancerígenas, pequeñas biopsias, como sucede en cualquier otra parte del hospital, pero tiene que estar totalmente integrado. Pero ¿qué es lo que puede ofrecer AMIGO a los pacientes y a los médicos? Pues en primer lugar, el guiado por imagen nos permite ver si las lesiones se han eliminado de manera completa. Tradicionalmente en un quirófano la extubación se produce, se cose al paciente que pasa a su habitación y unos días después se produce un escáner y entonces se estudia para tomar la decisión si hay que volver a abrir al paciente para eliminar restos de lesiones. Esto estadísticamente es más peligroso para el paciente, de forma que la potencia del guiado por imagen se ha demostrado en muchos lugares, no solamente en nuestro hospital, de forma que AMIGO reúne todas las ventajas en un único quirófano. Hay instrumentos que pueden sufrir seguimiento por parte de un ordenador, que puede combinar el mundo virtual con el mundo real. Podemos utilizar las imágenes para guiar las braquiterapias o para hacer biopsias o para hacer ablaciones térmicas, para extirpar tumores o incluso para saber cuál es la ubicación de una determinada una
affecting the
zona
patient.
y recibimos
And we
toda la
can
información de la
combine for
afección
any
sobre el
procedure
paciente,
that,
de forma que podemos combinar
a
cualquier
medical group might
procedimiento
say, we
de un
think that
grupo
this would be useful,
médico,
we've done the testing, we can bring
de
any
forma
pieces of
que
imaging into one operating room.
sabemos que
And that's
podemos
really the idea of
combinar
exploring new
todas
medical
las
ideas and
herramientas de
procedures
imagen
in
en un
a
único
laboratory
quirófano.
that
Y por
designs
eso
surgical procedures.
trabajamos
But
en
in
un
the process
laboratorio
of doing
que
that, we're working with real
diseña
patients. We're working
procedimientos
in the case of
quirúrgicos.
brain
Pero hay que
tumors,
tener en
it
cuenta
may be
que
a patient who
trabajamos con
says,
pacientes.
"I
Por
want to
ejemplo,
extend my life
si
for a few more
tenemos
months,
un
and
paciente con
this is
tumor
the best way
cerebral,
to
este
do that,
paciente puede
and
decir,
I
me
realize
gustaría
I'm helping
prolongar mi
science." In
vida
other
unos
cases,
meses. Pues esto
patients
sería
are
el
aware
mejor
that this is an
ejemplo, el mejor
experimental
lugar.
procedure that
Es
we're using, but also knows
definitivamente
the
un
physician can say,
procedimiento
if the
experimental, pero es
experimental piece
uno
that we're working
en
on
el
does
que
not
el
work,
cirujano
then
puede
I
decir,
can
si
go
este
back to the traditional way
procedimiento
and
no
I will take care of the
funciona,
patient.
puedo hacerlo como pueden
Since
demostrar
the
el guiado por
facility
imágenes,
opened
pues
in
entonces lo
2011,
dejaré para los procedimientos
1,630
tradicionales.
procedures have been performed. So this
En
is a real
Amigo se
working
han
operating
realizado
room. This isn't just a
1.630
glass room where nothing's happened
procedimientos.
and we show visitors. So neurosurgery has more than 300 cases.
En neurocirugía se han
Interventional radiology,
producido
more than 1,000
303
ablating
procedimientos.
tumors, doing
En,
biopsies for guidance. And I'll show some examples of that as we go along.
Biopsias
This
en
whole
todo
system
tipo
and
de
the whole
sistemas.
image-guided therapy
Este
program
señor
Brigham and
es
Women's
el
is
padre
the
de la
result
terapia
of the
guiada
person
por
who
imagen, Ferenc
pioneered this in the
Joles,
world.
que es
The
la
father of
persona
image-guided therapy,
pionera
Frank Joles,
en este tipo
was a
de terapias en el
Hungarian-born
mundo. Nació
engineer.
en
He trained
Hungría,
to be
era
a
un
surgeon
ingeniero, se formó
in
como
Hungary,
cirujano en
became
Hungría
a
y
radiologist
finalmente se
here
convirtió
in the
en
United
radiólogo
States,
en
and
los
really became a
Estados Unidos
scientist that
y se convirtió
pulled all these pieces together
en
and
un
made it happen.
científico
Everything
que
I show is
pudo
really an
combinar
example of his vision.
todo
His vision started
en
with
su visión y llevarlo a cabo.
we call it
Su
a double
visión
donut, which is an MR
comenzó con
scanner
lo que nosotros
where the
denominamos
patient could
el
slide
donut
in the middle
doble, es decir,
and
un
the surgeon
escáner
could operate.
con dos redondeles y en medio de los cuales
facility has
entraba
evolved over
el
time to be AMIGO, as you've seen.
el
This is the idea of what
paciente.
we want to do. We want to
Y
give
es
the
desde
surgeons
aquí ha
superpowers, the ability supervision
evolucionado
to
hasta
look under
Amigo. Y esto
the
es
skin.
lo que tenemos
In this
para
case,
el
this is
futuro.
fMRI activation
Esto
combined
es
with
una
diffusion
combinación
tensor imaging to show
de
fiber tracks
resonancia y
to allow them to
DTI
see
en
the
el
tumor
propio quirófano que nos
and
permite
work on
ver
it.
el tumor y
We want to
trabajar
make
sobre él. Es
the
decir,
super senses, super accuracy what the
le
surgeon
damos
does, but really we want to
al
give the surgeon
cirujano
power to heal.
superpoderes,
The
supervisión,
surgeon, when the
supersentidos
surgeon
y
looks at a patient, sees the
superprecisión
surface
y sobre todo
and
el poder de
really
curar.
relies on
El cirujano en realidad
experience
ve
to
la
know,
superficie
what's
y solo
below.
sabe lo
Then when
que
they remove
sucede
the tumor,
gracias a su
they
experiencia,
want
pero es
to
responsable
know,
del paciente
have they removed
y
the
tiene que
entire
saber si
tumor,
el
and
tumor
have I
se
left
ha
everything else safe?
extirpado del todo,
Radiologist
si
has
todo
tools
lo
to see below the
demás
surface and
está
has many
bien
modalities to
asegurado
do
y
that.
no se ha
The real
tocado en el
question is, how do we
procedimiento.
combine
Y la
those two
cuestión
in a
real
meaningful
es
way?
cómo
We
podemos
started this
combinar
process in
todo
the
esto
early
de
90s
manera
doing
realmente
tracking of
significativa.
probes and
Aquí, por
combining
ejemplo,
images, so the surgeon
estamos
sees the image you
combinando
see on the right.
imágenes de forma que
We've
se
developed
puede ver la
communication
imagen de la
technologies that
izquierda
allow
como la de la
software that we
derecha y
develop and
gracias
give
a
away for
eso y el
free
software
to
que
tie
hemos
to robots, to
desarrollado
tracking devices, and
podemos
to scanners
utilizar
themselves, so we can control them
dispositivos
all
de
as one
seguimiento
unit.
óptico, dispositivos robóticos,
Today,
los
we
dispositivos
look
de
for
imagen
examples where
intraoperatorios
image guidance
y
is
hoy
useful and apply them and
el
build these
guiado por
surgical
imagen se
procedures.
utiliza para
In this
diversos
case, there
procedimientos
are
quirúrgicos. En
glands
este
in
caso,
the
por ejemplo,
parathyroid that are
se
very
ve que hay
difficult to reach without
glándulas
damaging other
en la
structures.
glándula paratiroidea.
In AMIGO, we have
En Amigo
preoperative imaging.
tenemos imágenes
We can
preoperatorias
do intraoperative
y
imaging
podemos
with
hacer este
special
tipo de
coils to
de
get information
imágenes
about the
gracias
patient.
a unas bobinas especiales con las que
then,
conseguimos la
use skin
información
tracking
sobre el paciente.
to know,
Podemos hacer un
where structures
seguimiento
are and how they've
cutáneo
changed
para
since
saber
the
cómo
preoperative
cambian
surgery.
las
And then
estructuras
we
durante
can
la
go in,
cirugía
put
y luego
trackers on the
también
skin, as you see,
podemos poner marcas fiduciales
open
sobre
up,
la piel,
and then
abrir
use probes
y a partir de
that
ahí
show a
utilizar
track probe that you
sondas
see in the small
que
window
muestran lo que
has
se ve aquí
its
en la
own electronic
pequeña
version
ventana.
inside a computer
Es
program. The
una
surgeon can see all of them
sonda
at
electrónica
once.
que
You
a su
can
vez
see,
se ve en la
and in this
pantalla de un
case, this is
ordenador.
actually an
En
experiment where
este
we
caso
have
es un
audible
experimento
feedback, so that when the surgeon goes
de
in,
forma que el
the sound
cirujano
will get more intense and change frequency
recibe sonido
as
que cambia
the
de
surgeon moves in.
frecuencia a medida que va avanzando la el procedimiento
This is an
quirúrgico.
example of doing
Aquí les muestro
radiation
un
therapy
ejemplo
using small
de
needles. In this case,
de
this is to
radioterapia.
address cervical and vaginal cancers, which is
Se,
the leading cause of death
se
among
utiliza
women.
para el
You can
cáncer
see on the left, there is a
del
patient,
cuello
her
uterino,
feet
endométrico
are
y
sticking
vaginal
out
de las
of the
mujeres,
scanner,
que es
and we're
una de
doing
las
the
causas
placement of
mayores
needles that you
que
see
de
on the
muerte de
right. Hollow
mujeres.
tubes are
Y
placed,
vean que
and
a la
radiation
derecha
treatment
se
seeds are
utilizan unas
placed inside
agujas,
them.
estas son
We
las
can
agujas
see
huecas que se
those needles
utilizan.
in
Estas
imaging
agujas se pueden
and
ver
use
en las
CAD models,
imágenes.
computer models of
Estas agujas están
that
llenas
you
de
can see in
semillas
a small image with the
radioactivas y
holes,
podemos
so that we can
ver
figure out the
las
exact
imágenes
placement of where
con
to put things. And you can
los
see the result in the image.
agujeros y podemos ver los
So,
resultados en la
AMIGO,
propia imagen.
as I
De
said
forma que
before,
AMIGO,
is
como
this
dije
surgical laboratory,
anteriormente, es un
and
laboratorio
it
quirúrgico.
is the place where we make these new
El
procedures as
lugar
safe as we
donde
can for the
estos
patient. And what
procedimientos
that also
nuevos se
really
pueden
means,
hacer
this
tan
is all, I've
seguros
shown you
como
mostly
es
hardware,
posible
but the
para
real
los
key is that we have a
pacientes.
team,
Pero lo
everyone who
importante es
works
que somos
together
un equipo
continues to
en
work
el que
together.
todos
It's a stable
colaboramos
team.
de
We
manera
don't have
continuada. Es
surgeons
un
that come in
equipo
from other places. Everyone works
estable.
together, and that means surgeons and radiologists
Y
who
esto
have a good
quiere decir
relationship.
que son cirujanos,
Engineers and computer
radiólogos,
scientists
ingenieros,
who will watch the
informáticos
procedure
que
as
van
it's done
a
conventionally and then think about new
observar
ways to
el
improve and work with the
procedimiento
team
de
to
la
make things
forma en
better.
que se hace
We have the
tradicionalmente
technicians
y
and
observar
nurses
a su vez
who
cómo se
know
puede
this
mejorar.
procedure. They don't come
Tenemos
from somewhere else.
técnicos
Nurses are very
y
conservative about how they
enfermeros
approach patient
profesionales de
care because they are
enfermería que
responsible for the patient.
saben
So
por su
they're
responsabilidad
very
sobre el
careful about how to do
paciente
things. So we have
la
this whole
la
team
mejor
who
forma de
knows how
hacer
to
las
work together
cosas. Así
and
que
make things better.
tenemos equipos
Now,
que
finally, I
saben
wanted to
cómo
say that,
mejorar las cosas y
the
hacerlas
goal of
mejor.
this is not
El
necessarily to
objetivo
have
no
lots
es
of AMIGO suites
necesariamente
everywhere.
que haya
Dr.
dependencias
Seltzer in the
AMIGO
video said
en
there should
todos
be,
sitios.
we can do one. And
Ya
that's
decía unos
maybe
doctores
not
en
the
el
case.
vídeo que a lo
But
mejor no
the
se
goal is to
puede
build
poner
new
en todos
procedures that
sitios,
other people can
pero
use
se
with
trata
just some
de
of the
desarrollar
subset
nuevos
of the tools
procedimientos
that are
que se
available in
puedan
AMIGO. And one of the
utilizar
disadvantages of AMIGO
en
is
otras
we can't just take a tool
instalaciones.
from the normal
Con
operating
AMIGO
room
no
if it's
podemos
not
sencillamente coger
designed
una
for
herramienta
magnets. So
que no esté
some of these tools are
diseñada
not
para
the most
usar cerca
advanced
de
tools,
imanes.
but
Es
we have
decir,
the
algunas de
largest
nuestras
scope of them.
herramientas no
So
son
it's
necesariamente
not
las
for
más
every
desarrolladas del
hospital, but it's
mercado.
for leading
No es
hospitals
para todo
who can
tipo de hospital, pero sí
disseminate
para
and
los grandes hospitales
propagate these
pioneros,
ideas
para
to other
poder
places.
divulgar
So I wanted to
estas
close
ideas
by
a otros
thanking
lugares.
the woman you see there
Y
is
quiero
Claire Temple.
terminar
She's the director of the
nombrando
program,
a
and
Claire
lots of our
Tempany,
team
que es
has
la
worked together
directora de
for
nuestro
many years.
equipo
And we'll
y ha
hold questions for
trabajado
later.
con
Thank you.
nosotros durante muchos años. Las preguntas quedan para después. Muchas gracias.